Now, when he says you have scattered my flock, let's be careful with this. He's not saying that they caused the scattering by the way they treated people. He's saying, you have caused my flock to be scattered by me because they haven't obeyed me. Okay, do you see the distinction? Because people may go to that verse and say, oh, well, we know that people have left your congregation or this other congregation, whatever congregation where people may have left from, you must be scattering the flock. That's not what it's talking about here. What is going on in Jeremiah over and over again is talking about how Yahweh says, I'm going to scatter and then I'm going to regather. So this is talking about the propheticness of when it says that Messiah would be a Nazarite. Well, it's not a Nazarite like the Nazarite vow. It's a netzer. Netzer means branch. Okay, so it's referring to the netzer, the branch. So Yeshua comes out of Nazareth because Nazareth was where a lot of the descendants of David ended up, and it was known as the city of the branch. Okay, so it's not, when you see about him being a Nazarite, a lot of people do research and say, well, I don't see where Yeshua did the Nazarite vow, where there's, where was he a Nazarite? Well, no, he was a netzer. Okay, the netzer, a branch, and we know he was a righteous branch. When they refer to somebody, he's going to be referred to of Yahweh, our righteousness. So this person who's going to be king is going to be called Yahweh, our righteousness. Sounds like Yeshua to me. If you've listened to the Father and the Son teaching, you know that what I've taught is that he was Yahweh in the flesh. And so this person is known as Yahweh, our righteousness. Again, his name whereby he shall be referred to, the reputation, the authority, how we refer to him, not necessarily that his name will literally be Yahweh, our righteousness. Okay, so now here's Jeremiah saying, look, my heart is broken within me because of all these false prophets out there. And they're all trying to convince the people, hey, everything's just fine, when everything's not just fine. You know what we call them today? We call them politicians. I'm not trying to be political here, but isn't that it? They stand up there telling everybody everything's wonderful when you know that's just not true. Sadly, a lot of people are buying it and drinking the Kool-Aid. No, everything is not fine. He says, because of Yahweh and because of his set-apart word. So in other words, he says, I know what it's supposed to be. I know what they're supposed to be saying. And it makes I'm so, you know how like you're trembling, you get so upset? Jeremiah gets that way. He's like, you guys are killing the whole thing here. You're causing all this terrible stuff to happen because you won't just turn to Yahweh and submit to him. So what do you got to be careful of? You want to make sure that whoever you're listening to is literally just speaking the word of Yahweh. They're not coming up with their own ideas and their own understandings and their own information. And I get people who email me on a not regular basis, but often enough who, Abba gave me a vision, or Yahweh told me to tell you this, or letters that go out to general public, they're all prophets. Everybody's a prophet. I can't tell you how many of them are out there, all prophets trying to set everything straight. But then you line up what they're saying, and it doesn't necessarily match up with the word. Because people come into this, and they bring that mess with them. So that's why you get messy Baptist, messy Costal, messy whatever. Just fill in the blanks. And so you see people teaching, and you can still go, oh, that's Baptist doctrine. Oh, that's Pentecostal doctrine. Oh, that's Methodist doctrine. Oh, that's Catholic doctrine. You can recognize it. Because all they did really, a lot of them, is switch from Sunday to Saturday, and from Christmas and Easter to the holy days, and stop eating pork and shellfish. And that's, okay, I'm Torah observant now. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. And to all who walk according to the stubbornness of their own heart, they say, no evil comes upon you. So what's happening is, all these people that are behaving in error, they're doing things their own way, according to the stubbornness of their own heart, these shepherds are saying, oh, no, don't worry about it, you're fine. Go look on Facebook in these groups when somebody brings up an issue. How many people are going to come out there and go, oh, don't worry about it, you're fine, that's no big deal. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'd be careful about being the one telling everybody it's fine. Because what if it isn't? By the way, Yahweh actually thinks of it as people that despise him if they want to do what they want over what he wants. Did we catch that? It wasn't really necessarily subtle, but maybe it was subtle for some of you, that he's saying here, maybe I'm wrong in my interpretation, I think he's saying here, if you do what you want to do instead of what I say, then to me, I feel like you despise me. Wow, that's really strong. He says, they keep on saying to those who despise me, Yahweh has said you shall have peace. So who are these people? He's saying, oh, don't worry about if you're breaking the commandments, because he feels like you despise him when you don't do what he says. And then Yahweh's saying, I'm not going to turn back until I've done and established everything that's the purposes of my heart. You know what Yahweh's heart is? It's called the Torah. He tells you what's in his heart. I want to bless you if you obey. You're going to get cursed if you don't obey. I know what's best for you. Why won't you just trust me, fear me, love me, obey, etc.? That's his heart. There are other verses, and we're not going to read them today, but we've read them in the past, where he says, this had not even come into Yahweh's heart, like casting children to the pagan deities and that kind of thing. In other words, when he says it hasn't entered his heart, in other words, he's saying, it's not in my Torah. My Torah tells you what's my heart. Do you think I haven't seen this, what's going on? This is just using a lot of ways of metaphors and stuff to say, do you really think I haven't seen this? That I'm blind to any of this? That you can get away with anything? He says, why do you think I don't know what you're doing? You know, years ago there was a book that talked about Big Brother watching you. And it was talking about the government. But guess what? Big Brother is watching you. And he sees everything you're doing. Yeshua sees it all. He's sitting at the right hand. Big Brother is watching. And if you want him to be what he's titled to be, which is an advocate for you, you better give him some stuff to advocate for you with. Give him some stuff to work with. Some of us are giving him some really thin stuff there. And he's looking down going, you're making it tough on me here. I'd like to advocate for you, but you're not giving me a lot to work with. See, this is what's going on in Matthew 5, by the way, when it says in Matthew 5, I want to just read this to you. Think about all of this, and now we'll read something from Matthew 5. When he goes, whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so shall be called least in the kingdom of the heavens, but whoever does and teaches men, he shall be called great in the kingdom. What did he say? Those who are not teaching right are going to have everlasting shame. In other words, when the people in the kingdom are talking, and they're going to be talking about those that are the lowest, not those that are in there, but those that are the lowest who are not in there. Because you don't get in by the skin of your teeth. Because I've had people tell me, well, I don't care as long as I get in, even if I'm the least. No, when the people in the kingdom are talking about those who broke the commandments and taught others to break them, he said, those are the lowest of people. They have an everlasting reproach and shame that will never be forgotten. He says, and I shall be found by you. How? He says, if you seek me with all your heart, you have to seek me. Not seek me in the way you want to see me or seek me in the form you want to mold me into. No, we have to seek him ready to be molded into his image. We've spent already 6,000 years trying to mold him into our image. Every quote-unquote covenant church claims that they're in the new covenant, and they claim Jeremiah 31 as the basis of that, and I don't see the church mentioned anywhere in here. I don't see Gentiles mentioned anywhere in here. I see Israel and Judah. And then if you notice in verse 33, Judah's not mentioned anymore because at this point they've come back together. And now there's just Israel. He says, for this is the covenant I shall make with who? The church. It doesn't say that. With the house of Israel after those days, declares Yahweh. I shall put my Torah in the inward parts and write it on the hearts. Because all these Christians will claim now, the law's been done away with, it's been written on our hearts. Really? Where are you in verse 33? We've done 34 parts of this teaching. I think we've made the point that means that he expects you to have it so in your being that you do it naturally. You naturally are, without fighting, keep and obey his commandments. The worst possible, no, let me rephrase that. The complete opposite of that would be to say, oh, it's in my heart now, so we can just do away with it. I mean, doing away with it is the opposite of this. What the church has done is the opposite of verse 33, yet they claim that they're the fulfillment of verse 33. And I shall rejoice over them to do good to them, and shall plant them in the land in truth. In truth, in Torah, in Yeshua, in the Word. And with all my heart and with all my being. This is all his heart and all his being, what he wants to do for us. if we would just get all of our heart and all of our being focused on Him.